Hey everyone, welcome. This is Mompreneurs to Millionaires. So glad you're here. Today we are talking about how to grow your email list. Tell me below, are you using an email list? Right? Tell me below. I'd love to hear. Often we are collecting emails. Tell me below if you are collecting emails but not sending emails, right? Often I see this. So we're going to talk about really why you need an email list for one, and then how to grow it and how to get it converting for you. So definitely you want to stick around. It's going to be good. Let me know if you're watching on the live. Give me a little wave or a thumbs up. Let me know if you're watching on the live. Just say live below, or just type replay if you're watching on the replay. I'd love to know who's coming in kind of the day of and who's coming in afterwards. Awesome. So good to see you. All right. So thanks so much to everyone who voted, right? Every week I put out a poll inside this group as to what we should talk about. I would love to hear what are some questions that keep coming up for your business. Feel free to drop them below, or you can always suggest a new topic on that poll each week, or of course just vote on the few suggestions that I put in that poll. But I'd love to hear what are some burning questions for you, right? If you feel like there's something, if I just had a little bit more information on this, or if I could learn about this, right? It could really help move my business forward. I want to know what questions are coming up for you and your business. So feel free to drop those below. Awesome. So I invite you, right? I know you are a go-getter. You are a go-getter coach, an ambitious woman, and I would love to invite you to put on your abundance crown, right? With that, I always say it's a crown because you are a goddess. You have the power within. I really believe women are selling themselves short, right? I really believe that women are not tapping into their power, and you have more power than that, right? So put on your abundance crown. And to me, abundance means that all things are possible, right? All things are possible, but you have the power to change, right? Unfortunately, no one is coming to save your business. It is up to you, right? You have to take aligned action. You have to decide what strategy day in and day out. You have to decide where to invest your hard-earned dollars. You have to decide where to invest your time and effort, right? You have to decide what is best for you and your business. So it is up to you. So with that, I invite you to think about what all things that are possible, and that you have the power to change. You have the power to open your mind. You have the power to change your mind, change your mindset. You have the power, right? So with that abundance crown, as you watch this video, I invite you to write down 2 action items, just 2 little things, either an aha moment or something that strikes you as new and different, or, oh, I hadn't thought about it in that way, right? Or 2 things that are something that you're going to take action on for your business. So right, it's downloading a bunch of free information, right? I love a good freebie. This is a free training, a free video. But with all the DIY stuff in the world, right? You can download every freebie, every course, but you need to get something out of it, right? You're spending a few minutes here with me. I want you to get something out of it. So write down at least 2 things that are new or different, or something that you're going to try. Or even if it just brings up a question, right? Write down 2 things out of that you get from this video, because I want it to be beneficial, right? You're a go-getter. You don't want to waste your time. I want you to get something out of this. I always like to say that DIY, unfortunately, is the slowest way to grow, fail, or succeed, right? And if you're not sure which one, right? None of us are sure exactly what's going to happen, but we can absolutely believe which one we want to happen. But doing it yourself is the slowest way to get there, right? I'm a big DIY person. Of course, I know you're resourceful. You can do it yourself. But honestly, in order to move your business forward faster, I don't want you to waste the years that I did, right? I wasted years in DIY mode, trial and error, figuring it out myself. I know you can do it, right? You're ambitious and you're resourceful. And so many women, I see so many women thinking they have to do it alone. You're not meant to do this alone, right? Especially women. I really believe women want to be in community with each other. We want to be seen, we want to be heard, and we want to belong, right? So you're not meant to do this alone. You're not meant to figure out everything from your business, right? Start to finish, startup to success. You're not meant to figure it out alone. What I have discovered is that every successful coach I have met has used other coaches, right? And to me, I wish I knew that secret. I wish I knew that little tidbit way earlier than I figured that out, right? Because that would have been so much more motivating to me to understand if I want to get there faster, the best way to do that is to learn from those who have gone before you, right? I have made all the mistakes so that you don't have to. That is my goal in life. I want to share all of the things that I learned with you. So, right, with that, I think there comes obviously a time investment, but sometimes an investment in your business, right? I don't want you to waste years like I did. So just keep that in mind that you can download all the free material in the world, right? But sometimes it takes that next step, that next level of commitment, and that can be scary, right? And unfortunately, I really think fear is keeping you small. Fear is keeping so many of us small, right? It pops up every single day. And without recognizing that fear, right, that it's your potentially your ego, or that it's just fear telling you an old story, you will stay stuck, right? Fear wants to keep you in the familiar, what is comfortable, inside our comfort zone, right? If you're stepping out of your comfort zone, that can be really scary. If you're stepping out, making an investment, that can be really scary. But that's where growth happens. That is where you are going to make the biggest leaps and bounds in your business. I know for me, every time I have invested in a coach, I have moved my business leaps and bounds forward. It has given me such great momentum that I think it is far more worth it than usually the dollars that I spend. So just keep that in mind. But today, right, we are talking about how to grow an email list. So definitely stick around. A quick little background about me, if you're new here. My name is Christina. I love talking about the bike shop. So backing up a little, right? I feel like a babysitter at 12 years old. Tell me below if you were a babysitter. That I feel like was really my first entrepreneurial step out because I wanted to make it my own business, right? I realized way back then that I wanted to make my own money. I wanted to be in charge of my own money, right? Fast forward, I'm an engineer by trade, and I realized quickly early on that again, I wanted to be in charge of my own money. I wanted to be in charge of how much I could make. Many of you, right, have been in corporate 9-to-5 businesses. We are capped, right? That little raise each year is not going to cut it. It's not going to, if you're an ambitious woman, right, it is not going to be enough, unfortunately. So I learned that very quickly on. I also saw that all the men in the higher positions, they were all successful and had families because they had someone at home with support. I keep hearing this so often that all the society that is set up for men to succeed, it is because they have someone at home supporting them, right? So as women, I think that is an important thing to keep in mind, that you are carrying so much, right? You are carrying running a household, taking care of the kids, as well as trying to earn money and break that glass ceiling, right? So just give yourself some credit, right? I always like to say that too, that you don't have to do this alone, right? We're not meant to do this alone. But so I started my first little Etsy shop back in 2010, and I very quickly realized the internet is gigantic, right? It is so hard to be seen. If you build it, they don't just come, right? Unfortunately, if I set up shop, if I, do all the perfect things, serve it, have the right products, service, colors, all those things, people don't just show up. You have to go to them. Then in 2014, my husband and I opened a little bike shop, coffee shop. This was my learn by fire moment, right? This was everything. We needed, right? If you've ever had a brick and mortar, tell me below, brick and mortar. Oh my goodness. It is such a giant, investment, but such a giant transformation, because you don't realize how many things go into running a brick and mortar, right? It's like an extra baby, I feel like. Like you got to babysit it, you got to get the, licensing permits, all those things. But again, smacked in the face with that lesson that if you build it, they do not just come, right? You have to go to them. So again, you have to find a way to go to them, and then you have to find a way to nurture them. To me, I think one of the easiest ways to nurture your audience is an email list, right? Because you probably know yourself, you're not going to see just one post and buy something, right? Unfortunately. I wish it were that easy. If there's something amazing that you have seen one post and bought, it is because they have spent not a billion, but they've spent thousands of dollars on ads in order to trial and tribulate and figure out which ad works best, right? So there's been thousands of dollars into that ad that you saw, if you saw it one time and then bought. Most people are not seeing one post and buying. You need to get them into your world and warm them up. And this is what I love working with my clients on. If you've been around here for any amount of time, you know I love talking about Facebook groups. To me, at that bike shop, the best thing that we created was a Facebook group, because we learned that getting people, loyal supporters, into a community. Again, people want to be seen, they want to be heard, and they want to belong. So getting your audience into a little Facebook group is the easiest way to, one, get to know your audience. I always say treat it like a petri dish, right? You get to figure out what are their pain points, right? What words resonate with them, what's really their problem, and how can you really help them fix it? I think hearing from your audience is really important, right? Number two, it's a really great way to qualify your people. You get to ask questions upon entry. Over on your social media profiles, it's much harder to control your followers, right? You get to qualify your people coming into your Facebook group. And then three, it is the easiest way to grow an email list, right? As well as, so you not only have their email often, but they're inside your Facebook group, and this is also a container where you can warm them up to your beautiful services, your personality, your unique perspective, and convert them into paying clients. So to me, Facebook groups is the easiest way. If you're at all interested in how to build a Facebook group, or if you have one and it's quiet and you're not sure what's going on, I always offer a free Leads Audit where we can look at that Facebook group as well as your entire comprehensive marketing system, and we can figure out where the gaps are. So if you're at all interested in that, just say strategy below. I would love to reach out to you. But let's talk about email lists, right? So at the bike shop, I definitely did not utilize email lists to the full extent. Had I known what I know now, I definitely would have been utilizing it. Here is the why, right? If Facebook shuts down tomorrow, what do you have? If Instagram, even school, if any of these platforms that you do not own, what do you have, right? Your email list is your only business asset, typically. And if you're in the service-based industry, right? The only asset you really have is that email list. That is the only thing that you own. You don't own your Facebook pictures. You don't own your Facebook profile. You don't own Instagram, TikTok. You don't own any of that, right? Yes, you have your content probably backed up somewhere, but right, you don't own any of those profiles or any of your followers. An email list is the easiest way to ensure that you have an asset to your business. So that's number one reason to grow an email list, right? Number two, again, is that nurturing piece. Many people think that email is dead, right? I think people think this because we get so much spam, right? How many emails do you guys get a day, right? I would say at least 50 emails, maybe 100, right? Many of them are already filtered to junk, but many still get in my inbox. Here's the point of email. If you notice your own habits, you're scrolling, you notice who's sending you more often, who's sending you emails, and you probably read the subject line. Even if you don't read the subject line, you scroll through who sent an email, right? So if you want to stay top of mind, even if people aren't opening them, right? Of course, the goal is for them to open, then the next step would be to click, right? But even if people are not opening, they're scrolling, they are seeing your name, and they are recognizing, oh yeah, if I need to go to if I need a Facebook group, I go to Christina. Oh yeah, if I'm wondering about this about my business, I can go to Christina. Your name is staying top of mind. So that is one of, I think, the main points of sending emails is to stay top of mind, right? Even if they don't open your email, they are usually at least seeing and scrolling. So that is, I think, a big thing, just to stay top of mind, right? That's another aspect, another place to be seen. So I think email is really important, and I think it's a lost trade, right? I think so many people have given up on emails. So if you're sending emails, I think you're in the top 1%, right, of businesses. So definitely think about, if you haven't started an email list, definitely think about starting one. Okay, so I'm going to share with you kind of the 4 easiest ways to grow your email list and how to get it converting for you. So number 1 is using a freebie, right? So many of you, if you have a freebie, feel free to drop the freebie below, or just say freebie if you're wanting some help creating a freebie. I love creating freebies, right? That is one of my, I think, really creative genius moments, because I love, again, back at the bike shop, I got really creative on how to get people in my door, right? I needed butts in seats. I needed people like yesterday. So creating some type of, in that brick and mortar, was creating like a physical something, right? It was either like a physical flyer. I would do coloring pages all the time, get people in for free coffee, send them to, right, daycares. That was my favorite thing. So if you're at all interested in figuring out a freebie that works for your business, definitely I would love to chat. But I think using a freebie to collect email lists, right? That is the main point of creating a freebie, giving them something that they themselves would want and they would be willing to drop your email for. So this is the beautiful part of using a Facebook group for this intent. So you've joined, right, this Facebook group, you've joined many Facebook groups. There are 3 questions upon entry. To me, these are the qualifying questions that are the key to the whole system, right? If you don't have your questions set up or you're not reviewing them often, definitely check them out. But in those 3 questions upon entry, one of them, you should always ask, do you want this amazing freebie? And you can name it specifically, or just your general newsletter that has amazing resources and tips. Drop your email below, right? Just upon entry. That way, again, you probably have a landing page already set up, but I will say this, it is much harder to get people to go to a landing page and drop their email. It is much easier to get them into your Facebook group. It is a lower commitment level, right? So even in the DMs, even when you're acting in other Facebook groups, it is a way easier ask to say, hey, come join my free Facebook group. And then they will probably drop their email upon entry, as opposed to here's my outside link getting you off of Facebook and asking you to drop your email into my landing page, right? Plus, with the Facebook group, you get those 2 other questions. So you still have 2 other questions to qualify your people and get them to say yes to something. So to me, that is the biggest advantage of Facebook groups, is getting people into your world and growing that email list. So I think that is definitely number 1, using a freebie to grow your email list and utilizing those questions in the Facebook group in order to give them that freebie. So definitely if you have questions on that, feel free to drop them below. Number 2, the easiest way to really get going with emails, right? I hear this so much is, okay, I'm collecting emails, now what, right? Or I only have 1 or 2 people on my email list. I'm going to wait till it grows. Why? Nobody on that email list knows how many people are on your email list, right? Send them an email. Even if you have 2 people on your email list, send an email. Get into the habit of sending emails on some sort of schedule, right? So the first or the second tip really is to figure out some type of template. So I love using simple tech, right? So to me, I don't want a third party anything, right? Of course I have a few, but I want to utilize what I'm already utilizing. So if you have some type of CRM that you're already a part of, whether it's the company that you represent, or if you have your own website, more than likely your web host has an email system. So to me, that is the easiest way to collect your emails. If you're already collecting your emails either in a spreadsheet or in your web host, utilize the templates within your tools that you already have, right? So many platforms, many hosts, web hosts already have email templates. Use what you got, right? You don't need to pay for another third-party email system, unless you're really wanting the tools that they have, or you're really good at one of these others. There's a lot of free email CRMs. MailChimp, I think, is up to, I think it might be 100. Maybe it's only 5. Maybe it's only 100. It might be 500, but I think it's only 100 for free MailChimp. Constant Contact is a great one, right? It's a little bit on the pricier side, but they have beautiful email templates. So utilize whatever templates you already have. So my website is through Wix. I love Wix because it's easy and cheap. And it's really user-friendly. And their email system is so user-friendly. And it's right there within right? I could quick change my website and quick send an email. It's so easy, right? Within the same system. So I love Wix. If you have questions on Wix emails, definitely feel free to ask. So that's number 2, is really to figure out a template that you like and stick with it, right? You can edit the template. You don't have to start from scratch, right? Figure out how to send something on whatever schedule that is, right? So that's number 3, is to figure out some type of schedule that works for you and commit to it. So if it's once a week, that's great. If it's once a month and you're starting out, right? And you can only commit to once a month, do it. Set it on your calendar. Say, okay, this day every month I'm going to send an email. Find that template, send the email, right? Even if it doesn't matter how many people are on your list, even if it's just you and your husband, right? Send that email. Get in the habit of sending that email, because then you got to think about, okay, what do I put in the email, right? And so then that's the next step. So number 4 is definitely, number 4 is a little bit of that, but automate, right? Once you figure out what goes into the email, and I would say always use, right? You can use ChatGPT, start with that template. The template will usually give you some ideas on what to put in the email, but ask ChatGPT. The number 4 tip is to automate. Once you have a sequence of, or a schedule of emails that you're sending, whether it's every week or every month, the next step is to figure out some type of warm-up sequence. So ask ChatGPT, this is a great place, or whatever AI tool that you're using. Ask them, what would be a warm-up sequence to send to people to let them know about, right, my next offer? Or I really want to get people into this workshop, right? What would be a warm-up sequence to get them excited about this offer, about this event, or whatever's coming up, right? So in automation, that would be the next step, the next level. So if you're already sending emails and you're like, okay, this isn't really working, the next step would be to think about some type of automation, some type of, whether it's a 5 series, maybe it's longer, 10 series of emails, a sequence of emails that takes them on this emotional journey, right? And that's a great place for ChatGPT, especially if ChatGPT already knows your business, your voice, all of those things, your offers. It can really easily spit out like a 5 series warm-up sequence to your event, offer, whatever that looks like. So get in the habit of sending those either weekly. I think weekly is a great place to start. Then the sequence, you can ask ChatGPT what would be a normal cadence to send this warm-up sequence, whether it's every 5 days, 2 days, whatever you're comfortable with, right? And that would be a great thing, especially if you have an event coming up. Definitely think about some type of warm-up sequence that is quicker and more often than once a week, right? If you have an event coming up in 2 weeks, do not send 2 emails, right? You need to send more than 2 emails. It's probably getting lost. Don't be afraid, right? If you have any questions about any of that, feel free to reach out to me. But those are my 4 quick tips, right? The first one is create a freebie if you don't already have one, and use Facebook groups, the entry questions, to ask for emails. That is the quickest way to grow that email list. Number 2 is to use templates. Whatever host, whatever platforms you're already using, use some type of template to start. Number 3 is figure out a schedule, right? Definitely stick to a schedule that you can commit to. So if it's once a month, if it's once a week, do it, right? Stick to some type of schedule and commit to it. Even if you have 2 people on your list, try to do it, right? Number 4 is automate. So the next step after you're sending kind of a schedule, if you're sending weekly, periodic newsletters, then think about some type of warm-up sequence, some type of automation where you could send everybody who signs up for this freebie gets these 5 emails that warm them up to this particular offer. Or if you have an event coming up, this is a great place to ask ChatGPT some type of warm-up sequence, right? Definitely, that would be the next level. So those are my kind of 4 quick tips. I would love to hear what jumped out at you, if you feel like any of those tips were helpful, or what questions you have, right? What is still coming up? What is holding you back from sending that email? What is holding you back from sending that automation sequence? Sometimes that can be the next level that is scary. Often I feel like it is rooted in fear, right? I love working with my clients on mindset. If you feel like mindset is a challenge for you, definitely feel free to drop mindset below, because I feel like it is such a hard part of being an entrepreneur. I love helping you look at what are the pieces that are holding you back, and what are those sometimes limiting beliefs, right, that are keeping you small. Fear is such a liar. Fear is keeping you small because it wants you to stay comfortable, right? And I get that. I completely get that. Staying comfortable is nice, right? But growing and up-leveling your business is not going to be comfortable, right? You're going to have to, you've gotten to this level because of who you already are. If you want to get to the next level, sometimes that's going to be taking a deep look at who you are and what is really holding you back. Because there are probably some beliefs in there. Often there are some beliefs around sales. I think women have such a hard time believing that sales doesn't have to be salesy, right? There is an aligned place, I think, for every woman to feel good about serving her clients, right? You have a unique perspective. You are here for a reason. You are here to transform others. You are here to share your beautiful services and products with other people. There's a reason that is deep inside of you, right? You have a reason. There is a unique perspective, and your customers need you. Your ideal clients need your perspective, and that's important. You've got to get that message out there, and you've got to think about it as serving, right? If you don't do that, you are not serving your clients, right? If you're not putting your message and yourself out there, you are letting them down. They need to hear from you. Get your message out there. It's so important. So definitely don't waste years like I did, right? I always say waiting is expensive, right? DIY is the slowest way to fail, unfortunately, right? I was there for years. Stuck in a posting and hoping strategy, right? I think content is not converting the way we think it does. I think relationships are far more important. That's why I focus on Facebook groups. I think that's the easiest place to start a conversation and build those connections that are going to turn into paying clients. So if you all have questions about that, again, I just offer that free 15-minute call. That's all it takes. We can kind of look at what you're already currently doing. We can pick out some pieces, some free ideas that can definitely help you set yourself up for building those relationships. I can look at what you are specifically doing with it, if it's your posting, if it's your website, if it's any strategy, if it's your email strategy. We can look at whatever strategies aren't working and figure out what can work. So I can always offer some free ideas, and if we can figure out the gaps where I think you can make the most bang for your buck. So feel free to just say strategy below if you're at all interested in that leads audit, because the whole idea is to get leads, a predictable lead flow every single day to your business. If you're not currently getting 5 to 10 qualified leads coming into your business every single day, let's talk, because it is about getting a predictable lead flow and quality leads, right? You don't need a bunch of spammy leads to follow up on and make a bunch of time that you don't have, right? You need quality leads coming in every single day, something that you can depend on, so that then you can take them through your sales process, right? If you don't have the leads coming in every day and the feedback from your ideal clients, it's going to be really hard to take them through that sales process and figure out what the perfect service offer products that you need to offer them, right? If you're not getting feedback, if you're not having conversations, it's going to be really hard for you to convert clients. That's what I have definitely found with all of my clients. So if you at all have any questions about mindset or sales, and of course strategy, lead strategy, that's what I love working with my clients on, feel free to drop it below, or you can always send me questions anytime. I was just thinking about this the other day, that there are some women that I have been talking to for over a year. They are still in the same place they were a year ago. Do you want to be in the same place you are right now, a year from now? Right? DIY is the slowest way to get there, right? Unfortunately, I spent so many years in that zone thinking I could do it myself, right? And again, like I said, coaches, every successful coach that I have met uses other coaches. That is the quickest way to learn from other people, right? Absorb everything so that you don't have to make the same mistakes they did, right? I made all the mistakes so that you don't have to. That is my motto, and I'm sticking to it. Awesome. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions on email list, how to grow and why you need one, and how to make it convert into more clients.